snap. In this video, I'm going to be talking about thoughts. Trying to word the complexity of our minds. So, what is a thought? Think about it. Are you aware that you're thinking about what a thought is? You know? That, if not, that is the deepness of thoughts. Is that thoughts think about thoughts in regards to what thoughts are. Thoughts take place as to what thoughts are, you know? But like, what is that thought innately? What's happening? To me, it's a combination, a mixture of words and phrases and mental imagery. Some of you may not be able to visualize, but others can. And their thoughts may be comprised of images in their head, and also combinations of words strung together to make out sentences and phrases. Those are thoughts. The intellect, the imagination, the thinking mind. Sometimes words, sometimes images, sometimes just innate impressions. And we spend every day in this mind. We wake up and we're immediately interpreting and imagining and thinking and going off. We get in conversations with people and use our words and thoughts to talk to each other. We get on social media or YouTube or whatever and start thinking, oh, I don't like that, I like this. Oh, I'm going to watch that. Oh, screw this, I'm bored. Then we start thinking, oh, what am I going to do next? How am I going to spend my day? And while you're spending your day that way, you're thinking about things impulsively. You know, what are you thinking about right now? Was it this video? Was it this right here, this moment right here? Or were you thinking about some alternate thing that maybe doesn't even have anything to do with this right now? Thoughts are what you have trouble piercing through when you get into meditation. Because the goal or the idea is to be aware of the thoughts. But thoughts are so sneaky. Your identity is so sneaky. You're going to be having a thought that's saying, I'm aware of my thoughts. That's going to be a thought in your head, but you're going to be identified and attached to it, so it's going to seem like it's you fundamentally saying that. But in actuality, it's simply the passing of another thought that you have yet to become aware of. It's another layer of thought. I am aware of my thoughts. If you become aware of that thought, you can then realize that there is the thought, I am aware that I am aware of my thoughts. And then you become aware of that. And it creates this never-ending cycle of the thinking mind trying to escape itself, escape the point of attention by being the subject of what's going on. It's always just thoughts, 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 and you can never seem to get out of them and see them. And what we call a meditative state is just that, getting out of your thoughts and being able to see them. And when you can get out of your thoughts and see them, you can see how your thoughts literally construct your entire reality. The conceptual reality. The senses merely are here. The vision, the sound, the feeling, the taste, touch, smell is all here. Emotions. But then there's thoughts. Telling you what it all is. Telling you what it all is. I'm looking at a phone. I'm looking at a keyboard. I'm looking at a computer screen. I'm looking at a light. I'm looking at a microphone. And you don't even catch yourself doing this. That's why you think that what this world is microphone, light, computer screen, keyboard. Because so quickly, the thought form takes place and latches itself onto the stimulus of what you're doing. You wake up in the morning, you could have a thought, I just woke up. I'm awake now. There you go, you're already thinking. Good job. And, you can't think of thoughts. It's just more thoughts. And you're basing your thoughts around thoughts themselves. It's not like you're thinking of thoughts. You're always thinking of thoughts, if that's the case. All that's really going on is just thoughts. They're just a bunch of thoughts. It's all just a bunch of thoughts, man. Them dirty thoughts. Thoughts typically are what will push and pull you from these videos, make you click off or skip through it or watch it or whatever. The basis of your thinking mind is making out what you're doing, or at least justifying why you're doing what you're doing simultaneously, with what you're doing. And another thing thoughts do is create a phantom controller, a phantom person that is the doer. Because I can put my hand up, but I can also think about putting my hand up and then do it. Since I just thought about doing it and did it, there's an impression that I made it happen. That I just made that happen. But my hand going up and going down is no different than the sun setting and rising. And I don't go out and look at the sunset or sunrise and say, I'm doing that. I did that. Because I have an identification with this thing. This thing. What is this thing? Is this who I am? Is this who I am right here? Can you tell me who I am? It's like, nah, bro, you are me. Are there thoughts in my fingertips? Or are they all just pulsating through my skull right now? Is this entire universe pulsating through my skull? Is my skull the only thing that exists? There's just my skull? And the entire universe takes place inside of it? Thoughts are really interesting because you can, you create reality. You create reality. You have your nationality, you have your vocabulary, You use that shit to create reality. An African kid that has a different vocabulary than me, if there was like a translator or whatever, he would describe a different reality than me. Not based off the fact that he's living in a different reality, or that his reality is right or more accurate than mine, but simply because his words, his conceptual mind, came up with something else because of the different criteria of his own mind. And he's going to tell me what he thinks, and I'm going to get caught up thinking, oh, I believe that, or oh, I don't believe that. That kid's whack. But that in itself is just another thought that I just looked past and thought was me speaking fundamentally. You see a attractive girl or guy, what's the first thing that runs through your head? Thoughts. Fantasies of what you're going to do and what you want to happen and what you hope and what you fear. Thoughts create a hell of a drag. And like the true definition of drag, not like, oh, this sucks. I mean, kind of, but more so that it impedes on your being to be perpetually thinking about what's happening. Kind of like Alan Watts said, if you're always thinking, all you have to think about is thoughts. You can't think about reality. You can't think about yourself. And if you do, you're just thinking about more thoughts. Because you can't think about something without it becoming a thought. If I think about my room, I'm thinking of my room as a thought. I'm not experiencing this room as it is. And you know, something that I've always liked hearing is the thinking mind thinks about things. It's not like it is this or is that. It's talking about this or about that. It's indirect. Thoughts are indirect, and it's not what you're talking about. Thoughts are not what you're talking about. When I say all this, this isn't what I mean. You know? The word water has never quenched your thirst. The word food has never filled your stomach. The word air has never oxygenated your body. The word music has never created the experience of music. The word pain is not pain. The word happiness, sadness, fear are not those things innately. Thoughts are merely a finger pointing towards the actual reality. And we live in our thoughts. We live in our thoughts perpetually. Just try to stop thinking. You got a bunch of like impulsive, random, uncontrolled thoughts that are just popping in and falling away, and then you got these I thoughts that pop up, and you think it's you. But that's just an I thought. That's just one of the thoughts that thinks it's the self. Just coming in, you know, and like Alan Watts describes it like, we think the mind works thought, thinker. Thought, thinker. Meaning you're having all these thoughts, and then you're aware that you're thinking, and then you're having all these thoughts, and then you're aware that you're thinking. But they're all just thoughts. It's actually just thought. Goes on and on. There isn't a differentiation between I'm aware of my thoughts and just another thought. I'm aware of my thoughts is a I thought. It's a form of thinking in which it makes it seem like you are it. Because it's conceptually based and it makes sense, feels right, you understand it, and it feels like you. You attach yourself to it. But you don't attach yourself to that random passing thought of an apple, or that guy you saw last week, or that store you visited, or whatever. You don't think of those as you. But when a thought comes off in this creative, sneaky little way of like, I'm thinking right now, or I'm sad, or I'm depressed, or I'm angry, that's you. You live it. You live those thoughts. You live those thoughts because they're modulated in a way that makes it seem like you have to be it. You have to be it because I'm angry. I'm angry. Fuck. Well, then when you identify that, your body is a very, very, very complex thing, and it follows suit, it releases chemicals through your body that match who you identify as. You're angry? You're going to feel angry, probably. Why would you be happy and be saying, I'm angry? Unless you're just like completely deluded and not looking into the direct experience of yourself. Because if you did, you'd realize, oh shit, I'm actually happy. I'm not angry. You know, like, and what comes first? Do you feel angry and then think I'm angry? Or do you think I'm angry and then start feeling angry? Well, it kind of happens like simultaneously, you know, like your mind creates reality really quickly. Like, that quick, so quick, quicker than the snap of my fingers. Like, just look around the world and see how quickly you see all these objects. See how quickly you label and talk about everything you're seeing. I just named off probably 30, 40 different things in this room. Just looking around. And that is the mind going, this is what reality is. This is what reality is. So, it's very quick. It's very quick. Now all of a sudden somebody smacks you across the face. In literally almost the same moment of being smacked in the face, I mean, you got your reaction time, which is kind of interesting to think about. In the moment of being smacked in the face, not only were you smacked in the face, but you had the thought form, I shouldn't be getting smacked in the face. Or, more frankly put, this motherfucker just smacked me in the face. That's happening simultaneously with the face smacking, as it all comes to fruition. So in that very moment, you have attached to your thoughts and how you're going to react to the situation. This motherfucker just hit me. We all know what that vibe probably puts off. You're going to get mad. You're going to get mad and worked up. If you're able to have the thought, some Buddhist has the thought that this is the Divine Mother that just smacked me. He's going to be thrown into ecstasy after getting smacked. That quick. Because of what his mind saw in reality and made out to be real. And I can't stress it enough how quick it happens. How quick it happens. Somebody smacks you in the face, you're mad. You're mad and reacting. There's such a tiny window. You didn't even analyze if you should do this or not. You were just angry. I experienced anger the other day. Quite a fucking big wave of it. And picture me throwing my wallet across the room, saying out loud, I don't give a fuck about anything. And then falling to my knees and clenching my fists and saying, I'm so fucking angry right now. Thoughts, man. Thoughts. I can't describe why I'm angry without using thoughts. Even to myself, which shows its lack of genuinity. If you gotta use thoughts to justify what's happening, you're just making it up. You're just making it up. If you gotta use thoughts to talk about how sad you are, or how cool you are, or how whatever you are, you've made it up. You're making it up and identifying with it. Not only are thoughts a offshoot from reality, so you're not actually living in reality, you're living in a world of thoughts, schematics that you've made up. Thoughts are also very inaccurate and misleading, and lose traction really quickly. Think about how much your thoughts have changed over the years, how much your belief systems and your opinions and ideologies have changed over the years. And realize that you're thinking of that stuff, you know what I mean? Just stay right on the surface with me. Stay right here. See it all. See the thinking. See that you're thinking about thinking. See that you're aware that you're thinking. But yeah, thoughts are inaccurate, misleading, and always shifting. Thoughts are always shifting. As I look at the shift key on my keyboard. Like, me and my brother are pretty close, pretty spiritually in tune with each other. And we were up at camp last weekend, and I had a little jar of hash, and he had a jar of hash as well, and he was packing up a bong rip. And I moved my hash out of the way so that he could use his hash instead of mine. And, you know, as I did that, I start thinking in my head, that was rude. Making it so he has to use his hash instead of mine. Why not just let him use mine? So I grab my hash and put it back, and I say, sorry bro, you can use my hash if you want. And he looks up at me all confused and says, no dude, you're good. I wasn't even thinking of that. I wasn't even thinking about that. And we got into this cool little talk about how this completely unnecessary pressure that I created in my head, thinking I'm being rude and he's not going to like this, I better do this. And so I do this thing and then tell him, and next thing I know, he wasn't even aware of what I was thinking. Or the situation where you assume something's going on, but it's not actually taking place, and you feel like silly as hell after when you realize. Like a girl that recently came back into my life, and I was under the assumption she's coming on to me, so I'm like telling her how I feel about relationships, and she's talking about relationships, and then I come to find out she doesn't even like me, and she doesn't even want to be in a relationship. It's like, oh, okay. That was a lot of talking for nothing. You know what I mean? I was all up here worried that you're like trying to date me. So I'm saying all these things with this amount of depth and compassion and whatnot, and you aren't even on the same train I am. So that's another thing. Thoughts are inaccurate and thoughts are misleading. You may think you're reading into something just how it is. But dude, what's going on with them is so different. I've been told a lot that I'm an overthinker. Because, you know, I'll walk into a room, my dad and his wife are out there, and I see facial expressions, and I hear tones, and I hear the way in which they're moving things around and the way they're walking, and even what they're doing, how they're spending their moment out there. and I'm overloaded with a scenario of what's going on. Of yeah, they're probably doing fine right now. Looks like might have had a bad day at work, or they got in a talk about something in the car, and now they're irritated with each other. Oh yeah, they seem to be pretty happy right now, laughing, they're just kind of chilling. Seems like their guards are down, you know. Is that overthinking? Is that overthinking? I mean, to an extent, yeah, to an extent, because there's been many times where I do that, and I get myself all worked up into this scenario that I think's taking place, and then I finally lay it on the person to be like, hey, this is what I think's going on. And they're like dumbfounded. They're like, what? Dude, you need to stop thinking so much. And it's like at first I think, oh no, you don't think enough. You aren't aware as I am. But then other times it's like, shit, maybe I do overthink situations and I can't just be in a situation without looking at every possible alternative reasoning behind it, you know what I mean? And that's just the way the mind functions. That's just the way the mind functions. It's not like I'm consciously doing that. I just walk into a room or walk into a building or wherever, and this deconstruction of what's going on takes place in my mind. And it actually, yeah, sure, sometimes it'll unveil like a potential problem or something like that, or a potential good thing, you know. But it also just keeps you so busy. It keeps you so busy and up in your head, and you're not actually communicating with people when you're up in your head thinking about what's going on. Because you're talking to them, thinking of them as them. That's them, and they're doing this because of this. And I'm going to say this in the hopes of getting them to do this or do that. It's all really bullshit. It's all like lying to each other. Yeah, and when you're sitting alone, thoughts get really interesting because it's like I was talking about earlier, you can't really, it's hard to get behind those motherfuckers. It's hard to become fully aware of those things because you identify so heavily with thoughts, you know? Who are you without thoughts? You know, who are you? Oh, I'm Devin. That's just a thought. I'm talking about you in essence. Who are you? Oh, I'm a human. I'm this human right here. Is that not just another idea? You know, come on, tell me who you really are. You are experience itself, you know? All of it, all of the experience. You don't stop at the edges of your skin. That's just a cute little idea. Makes sense. That's another thing that's dangerous about thoughts. If it makes sense, it's a go. Like, it's interesting. If you're watching, are you thinking right now? Are you thinking about alternative stuff? Are you thinking about, like, what you're going to do with your day, or, you know, how I'm not talking about what you want me to talk about, or are you, like, listening, watching this video? Because, like, I'm just here right now talking. Like, most of what I'm saying is spontaneous. Like, I didn't plan to say this type thing. What are you doing, kitty? Words are weird. This reality isn't words, you know? Do I have anything else to talk about right now? Kitty cat, oh my gosh, you're losing your mind, honey. Stay over there. Stay. Here, right now I'm thinking about what I should say. Is what's happening. See the jam that makes? See the grittiness, the drag that makes of thinking about what to do? There's so many things you could do. What's the right one? What should I do? What's the right thing to do? And what's so interesting is I start talking like this, and that, what you're witnessing when that happens is a spontaneous thought arising. A spontaneous thought arising. And I'm not in my head going, I'm going to say this, should I say this? But when you see me there silent like that, that's like me thinking of what I should say. Yeah, when you're sitting alone trying to look into your thoughts, really interesting. Try doing it. Try doing it. Just sit down, close your eyes or look out. And you know, something you can really do, like, what really makes it apparent is focus on one thing. Focus on one thing and see how quickly you drift around. See how quickly you drift around. Like, just for example, last night I was visualizing apple. I was creating an apple in my mind and holding it there and trying to have that just be my main thing. Dude, I kept seeing the apple like disform and then come back too, and then I'd be thinking of something else, and then I'd see the apple come back in. It's like, what is my mind doing, bro? I have very little say over what's going on right now. Your mind just is constantly falling away from what you're doing, you know? And when you make what you're doing sitting and being aware, you know, you realize how rapidly you're falling away from just being aware. You're not even doing what you want to be doing. Like, I deal with this thing a lot. Like, I'll go to put on a YouTube video and watch the YouTube video, and next thing I know, I'm scrolling through the recommended to look for a new YouTube video. It's like, am I even watching this video? Or I'll go to get a drink in the bathroom, and next thing I know, I'm brushing my hair and brushing my teeth and washing my face. It's like, I thought I came in here to get a drink. Or light an incense, next thing I know, I'm making my bed. It's like, what the hell is all this? Why am I doing all this secondary shit? Why do I not just do what I say I'm going to do? Oh, babies. It's like, we just get very amused by things. We just get very amused by everything that's going on, you know? Our attention gets grabbed by tons of shit, you know? What we want to do shifts subtly or drastically, randomly throughout the day. And we get bored, and then we get excited, and then we get irritated, and then we get intrigued and fascinated and sit down with one thing for a while, and then we get bored again, and then we don't know what to do, and then we go and try to find something new to do, and while we're trying to find that new thing to do, we're doing 3 other things. We're very busy. We're very impulsive people. And really, it's because of that thinking mind, I think. I think. It's because of my thinking mind. Because when I stop thinking, when this reality stops being words and thoughts, it is eternal, infinite timeless peace and silence and experience, and I am everything, and nothing really matters. Nothing matters in the greatest of ways. It's so hard to say this kind of stuff, and well, it's easy to say it, but I worry that you're not understanding it in the way I'm saying it. You know what I mean? I say, oh, nothing matters. Now you think that means that the love you have for your relationship, for your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, or your family doesn't matter, or your interests and hobbies and dreams and aspirations don't matter. But they don't matter in the greatest of ways, in that you're safe regardless. You're fine. You're fine regardless of what happens. That's why it doesn't matter. Because either way, you could do this or that. It doesn't matter. You're going to just be here. You're just going to be. You could do anything you wanted. It doesn't matter. The universe just is. That's another funny thing. I used to hate that. It is the way it is. And I'd be like, the way it is a mental construct that you've created. But here I am going, things just are the way they are. You know what I mean? It's just because it's coming from a different point. And now that I can be coming from a place where I say, oh, it is what it is, I can see why somebody who's settled into another perspective or way of thinking can say the same thing. Ah, it is what it is. This world sucks. It is what it is. I hate the way the world is, but it is what it is. Or, this universe is infinite. It is what it is. You know, just a little flip of thinking. How do you want to look at it? Alrighty, everybody. So I'm not going to babble on forever. I just wanted to talk about thoughts. How much of a role those play in our day-to-day life, and how misleading they can be, and how they can, a lot of the time, are giving off the wrong impression. Thoughts are not actually accurate with how reality is taking place. So look into your thoughts and see the models in which you think, you know, and just kind of dissect that stuff. Wonder, think about why you think that way, you know, or try to just see your thoughts. Sit down and see all your thoughts happening. See how you think you're aware of your thoughts. See how there's a thought that there is awareness of thoughts. See it all, you know. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back with more. See you guys.